Hey guys, what's up? So let's see who's gonna be on here tonight. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. I just wanted to pop in because I saw so much activity and there's been tons of DMs and I'm getting lots of questions. And I thought, let me just make some time. Hey, what's up? Hey. I thought, let me just come on and answer some questions. So I'm here. Are you guys having a good weekend? Yeah. What are you guys doing this weekend? Anything fun? Um, what's up, everybody? All right. So I've got a bunch of questions in my notes that I'll answer, and then I'll answer as many as I have time for. And then if you have other questions, you can just type them away, and we'll get on there as soon as we can. Hey. All right. So I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. I know that a lot of people are catching up on the videos, and I know that a lot of people are DMing me with some questions, and people are going through some internal struggle right now. Some people are in the program, and that's really exciting. I think we're like halfway full with how many spots. So that's amazing. It's only been like a day and a half. But I know there's a bunch of people who are struggling with like, is this the right choice for me? Is it not? And I don't think it's the right thing for every person in the world. I think that'd be crazy to say that, but I do think that there are people that this is absolutely the best thing, the best thing. The fact that it even exists is like a miracle for certain people because it's exactly what you need. And so if I can help you have the courage to make that choice for yourself, then great. And if I just come on tonight and you wind up not joining this program because it's not for you, but you just get more out of this, then that's great. That's awesome. I hope that you just continue to feel uplifted. Delana is on my team and she's here. So she's going to be catching your questions. And if for some reason I don't answer it, don't worry. We'll make sure that your questions get answered, but I'll answer as many as I can. I'm really impressed to see 50 of you right here, right now on a Saturday night. Give yourself a round. Okay, a couple of things I just want to say before we dive in. How many of you, I mentioned this book during our 5 days together. How many of you know a book? It's called The Big Leap. Write it in the comments. Such a good book. It's written by a man named Gay Hendricks. And I want to share this with you because one of the big pieces here is that I want to help you break through your upper limit. And everybody has an upper limit. Everybody. At any point in your life, at any point, no matter where you're at, there's a ceiling. There's a ceiling in which you believe this is how much you're capable of. This is how much is possible. This is how much money is available to you. This is how much love you're willing to receive. See, we create a vessel, right? So if I have a vessel this big, I can have this much water. If I have a vessel this big, let's say this was a cup, I could have this much water. This is actually a candle. But there's a vessel, right? And so we create in ourself a vessel for how much love. How many people do you know in your life who they have a really hard time receiving? Like, I'm not going to say who it is, but there's someone in my family, if you go out to dinner, they refuse to let you pay. And even if you go to like pour them a drink, they're like, I'm good. It's like there's something there with like taking in. And if you give them a compliment, they almost look at you like you did something rude. Like, why would you say that? That's not true. Or it's very interesting, right? There's a certain level where we sometimes have a ceiling. And I want you to think about that for a second because it's huge. And in The Big Leap, he talks about breaking through your upper limit. And so what winds up happening is your ceiling becomes your floor. And now there's more space. There's more possibility for how much joy. There's more possibility for how much income. There's more possibility for how much you can achieve, you can show up. One of the things he talks about also in the book, he just has a really good way of saying the same. Look, at the end of the day, there's like one truth, and a lot of different people find different ways of expressing it. And so on my podcast, one thing I love about it is we just keep having the same conversation, and different people talk about things differently. But in the book, The Big Leap, he talks about how there's your zone of excellence and your zone of genius. And the sad thing, and this is like based on research, is that the majority of people, like the great vast majority of humans, they don't play in their zone of genius. And they don't even play in their zone of excellence. So what he says is there's a zone of competence, okay, below your zone of excellence. That's where you do things, you're pretty good at it, and people tell you like you're good at it, and you're like, all right, and you like just do it, you do it, and you never kind of break through to that next place where you're doing something you're excellent at. You're not just capable of it, but you're excellent at it. There's a lot of times where people build other people's dreams. Maybe you wanted to be a songwriter, but there's a lot of stuff in your head that's keeping you from taking massive action. And so you're not working on your craft, you're not making the right moves, you're not reaching out to the right people, but your dad owns a insurance company and you're competent at it, and you wind up doing that for 44 years, right? That's your zone of competence. Then there's other times where you might break through that and you do a zone of excellence. Maybe you become like the director of the region. You're excellent. You're excellent at it, excellent. And that's actually really dangerous, because when we're in our zone of excellence, people will compliment you and they'll be like, that's awesome. Like, way to go. Like, that's so cool that you can do that. But there's a difference between our zone of excellence and our zone of genius, right? When we see LeBron James, when we see Jordan, I feel bad saying Kobe because it's been like really tough. You should see what's going on in LA. Everyone's like in mourning, but you see certain people play basketball. There's no doubt this is what this person is genius at. And I believe that everyone has Michael Jordan level talent at something. Absolutely. For some people, it's knowing how to connect people. For some people, it's the ability to listen in a way where they are the most masterful, empathetic mediator or therapist, or fill in the blank. For some people, they do it with art, ceramics. For some people, they do it with writing, screenwriting. I mean, there's just a level at which certain people, you're like, dude, it's something's going on. I heard Tom Petty once talking about playing guitar. And he said, there's a point every night when I go on stage where I don't even know that I'm playing guitar anymore. I'm just sort of like, something's happening. It's just happening. It's beyond me. I don't even understand it. It's something else. When we're doing this thing that's our zone of genius, it's kind of like if God was the author, we just feel like the pen, and like something's flowing through you, right? You're just channeling something, and it feels so good because you feel this feeling of the infinite. You feel you're touching divinity in some way because you can't even understand why or how. And you can't even. All you know is when you do that thing, it's magic, right? That's it. That's the stuff right there. So in The Big Leap, he talks about how we can't afford to play in our zone of excellence. We can't afford it because our soul is dying to play in our zone of genius. And so we need to break through our upper limit. And what I'm doing, and everybody's different, right? But you may have thought you're going to click on this thing and you're going to learn a lot about sync licensing. So for me, that was just the entry point, and I wound up being successful at it. And there's the articles, that are on my wall that you guys could Google. In fact, you should Google them because you should read them because they're interesting. And there's a lot of data in there. There's hard facts about money that I made on certain things, which helps you understand what ads pay, what TV pays. There's good facts on music supervisors in there, which ones work on what. You should read those. But anyway, you can Google it. Maybe I could post the links. But in any case, I just started there. And then I had a success with sync licensing for 10 years. And then thankfully, I knew there was another level for me. It gets to a point with all of us when I think we're doing something and we're like, yeah, I'm good at this. Yeah, people tell me, but like, I know there's even more in me. And I want to like keep taking out different keys to figure out what's going to unlock what door. And eventually I started my podcast. This is the same, my book is the same name of my podcast. And for me, I don't know, once I started speaking and touring, and filling rooms of like 1,000, 2,000. And the podcast grew from 1 million downloads to 3 million to 15 million. I was like, oh, I'm really supposed to be helping people break through their upper limit. So one of the biggest pieces is that it's kind of a joke. Like we're saying that this 6-month mentorship program is about licensing music, but I think the reason you're seeing all the testimonials and the way that they're speaking to you is because I'm speaking truth over you, right? And it's because there's something in me that's just, I feel so unrelenting about making sure that people show up in this life so that you don't walk into your 85th birthday and feel like you left it on the floor, like you brought it and the world got a taste of it. That's my personal mission statement. So I'm very passionate about helping people to get into their zone of genius, because it feels so good. And it's kind of a win-win, because it's kind of my thing, right? My thing is doing that. And then it's like win-win, and you get to do more of that. So that's a big part of what we're doing in this program. And like I said yesterday, it's amazing to me how distracted we get from our life, from our zone of genius, from who we're longing to be. And we fill our days with this scrolling, filling our days with scrolling, Netflix, and we're so distracted from who we want to become. What else is there? Why are we here if it's not to wake up and be who we were created to be and be in that feeling, right? When we talked about Jordan, we talked about Tom Petty playing guitar. Like, how on earth are we not spending at least a couple hours of the 24 on that every day? How are we not spending 8 hours doing that every day? I don't know. We're so distracted. But it's not just distraction. It's the garbage that's in here. Because I want you to write something down for me, okay? Thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are not facts, okay? And what happens is we have that ceiling. Remember I told you? And people go, what does she mean? I don't have a ceiling. Oh, yes, you do. I could be sitting on a waiting room bench. Let's say I'm waiting to go into see a doctor or a dentist. I was just at the dentist. Let's say a dentist. Let's say I'm sitting in the waiting room about to go and see the dentist, and there's 3 people in the waiting room, and we think we're all sitting in the dentist waiting room. We're not. All 3 of us are in a different universe because of this thing right here, right? One person might be staring out the window thinking about the stress that's going on and the person that they're angry at and whatever else. One person might be sitting there like reading a magazine, comparing themselves and having body image issues right in that moment. And one person might be thinking about the wonder of how lucky they are that they are even there because recently somebody was sick and da-da-da. Like, we are living in a different reality all the time based on what's our ceiling, what's our floor. Who understands what I'm saying? Okay. So this stuff, the thoughts, right? They're not facts, but the more you repeat something to yourself, you start carving out a world in there. This is what I'm capable of. This is what's possible. This is what the world is like. This is what is reality. And you live inside that box. And so one of the things that I am determined to do with this program, with my podcast, with every person, the closer you are to me, the more of it you're going to get, right? Is to paint a new picture for you, because you're only going to move into action when you start to see a new possibility. I want to tell you something. A friend of mine works for Teach for America. Who knows what Teach for America is? Okay. So Teach for America, they go into different schools in different parts of the world. And sometimes they're dealing in places where kids don't have a lot. Okay. And she's standing in front of a 2nd grade classroom, and she says to the kids, we're going to draw what we want to be when we grow up. Veterinarian, doctor, astronaut, author, fill in the blank. Okay. And the kids start to have some fun, and she gives them markers, and they're just whatever. And there's a kid in the back of the room, and he's just sitting there and he's not doing anything. So she walks over and she says, Justin, what's going on? You're not drawing anything. He's like, I don't know what to draw. And she's like, anything you want, whatever you want to be when you grow up. Just make it up. And finally, he's like, okay. All right. I think I got it now. Thank you. I think I got it. And she walks away and he draws something and she sees he's working on something. So she feels happy, So she comes back and she said, what did you draw? And who wants to guess what he drew? Yeah, I'm so impressed. So some of you know you know my stories because you listen to my show, or maybe you read it in my book. So anyway, so she said, so he says, I drew a pizza delivery boy, and he's so excited. He goes, yeah, and he's like, what's wrong? So she calls his mother, and she's like, Mrs. Smith, can you have 5 minutes to talk? And she says, sure. And she said, I gave all the kids an assignment and I asked them to, draw what they want to be when they grow up. And different kids drew, one kid drew an astronaut, one kid drew an actor, one kid drew a biologist, marine biologist. And your son drew a pizza delivery boy. And it took some time to even get to there. And she says, oh, okay. And she says, so I just was curious if you had any idea what's going on with him. And the mom says, oh, I could tell you exactly why he drew that. His father's in prison. He's a drug dealer. And his uncle, who loves him very much, who's the best guy he knows, he's a pizza delivery boy. Man, he's a pizza delivery guy. Delivers pizza. What is that about? Can I tell you what that's about? We reach for the highest branch we can see. Yes, we do. That's what's going on in the world that we're creating with our thoughts. Okay? So the thoughts, the things that we see, the things that we tell ourselves are possible if you're not aware that your thoughts are not facts. So your body will receive your thoughts as facts. So if you just keep telling yourself, that's not possible, that is possible, that's reality, that's not reality, this is right, and then you talk about yourself, and I don't have the ability to do this, and I don't have the resources to do this, and I will never be this, and I'm here. They're out there, and those might be lucky and those might be weird because that's not realistic, but the reality is only this. And about me, oh yeah, I'm only capable of this. And we draw this tiny little box, okay? And then you're not an idiot. You'll only reach for the highest branch that you can see. So what I'm hoping is that when you're in a program where every single time you turn around, you see a new reality. You see somebody who's doing it. You meet somebody. It's really eye-opening for all the artists when they come to the Sync Keepers, because not only do they see it on camera over Zoom, but they meet people in person who shake their hands and give them a hug, who are like, oh, send me your music. Yeah, I choose music at Netflix. That's awesome. Oh yeah, we just gave an indie artist 54 grand for blah, blah, blah. It'd be great to talk to you about it. And they go, whoa, possibility, branch I can reach for. Whoa, new reality, right? Or they start to meet artists who are kind, who are collaborative, or they start to see someone like me. I'm just one story, right? But then there's all these other stories of people who came after me, who did what I'm saying to do, and then they're like, it works, I was able to do this and I was able to do that. And you go, whoa, new reality, new possibility. Now my ceiling isn't here. My ceiling is now I can reach, right? If I could reach higher just for one more. I told you I have that disease where if I hear a song, I have to sing it. So the other thing I want you to know is that everyone wants to get ready. And I'm going to go into the Q&A now part because I have a bunch written down. But the thing I'm seeing is that people are saying, I'm not ready. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the next 6 months until your program is offered again in August, and I'm going to go get ready. And that is not a good use of your time. Okay. What's a better idea? To go off on your own with the stuff that you're thinking, okay, and no feedback, and not being close to the customer, to the supervisor, to the wisdom, to the people with the ears who get to listen to your music and go, I like that, but could you change that? Or what's better, to go off on your own without any of that feedback, and you're going to try to write in a vacuum without knowing, is it good? Did anyone like it? And will you give up? Or will you write 10 songs and will they each get better? Because will they get closer and closer to what the person wants? And how will you know if they're closer if no one heard them, right? Or will you just spend 6 months kind of writing and practicing more skills that are actually doing the things that are going to get you further from it? Because remember we said it's 10,000 hours to mastery, but if I sit like this for 10,000 hours, I'll have bad posture. I have to sit like this. I need someone to come around and go, no, this is not downward dog. This is downward dog, right? So I could do yoga on my own for 6 months, or I could have a teacher and actually do yoga or practice doing yoga improperly and maybe screw up my ankle forever, right? So we don't want people to do that. And people will say, so, well, if I'm not ready, I don't have the music right. It's like, no, no, no. This program is created for 2 people. Either you already have the music, which I'm a little doubtful, because even if you're a great vocalist and a great writer, I don't know how on earth you would have been able to write a whole catalog of music that fits all the themes unless you were in a program where people were giving you feedback going sonically that were, I mean, because even Pharrell had to rewrite Happy about 25 times until it was right for Despicable Me. But if you were able to nail it and crush it already, and you have a catalog of songs ready for sync, ready to go without needing any feedback from a supervisor, it's still the right program for you. And you're just going to get to move at a faster pace, because if you already have the songs, it means great. Now, every time a supervisor comes in, every time a licensing agent comes in, you're just going to get to use that third door and boom, right? You're off to the races. Or more likely, you're either somewhere in the middle or just starting, right? If you're somewhere in the middle and just starting, then it's even more beneficial, because if you're somewhere in the middle, you're a person who's got a great talent, who's already put in the work, who thought you were giving up because you had already toured or had a label deal and you're about to get, no, like that's great, because you know you have the chops. Those chops have been validated. Someone told you along the way, you've got, you're a great guitar player, you're a great lyricist, but now you get the information. Focus that and write a song about this. Great. Come back to us. Awesome. It's closer. Can you go now and do this? Can you actually collaborate with so-and-so over here, because you write really good lyrics and she writes really good melody. And if you guys came together, that song would be sick. Okay. So that's awesome. Right. So it doesn't matter whether you're just starting, and then there's people who are like, well, I'm just starting, I don't have any songs. It's like, amazing. Fine. Come into the program and use all of this so that you can start. And instead of starting here and maybe never getting here, you can start here. You can start with literally the person who needs the thing saying, hi, I run Disney soundtracks. Here's what we're looking for. And you go, oh my God, that's cool. But I'm scared and I'm messy. All right, well, everyone's got to start wherever they are. But when are you better off, playing chess against someone who's where you're at, or losing miserably, but playing chess against someone who's better? Playing chess against someone better. Do you know that if you played basketball and you lost, you just completely lost, but you lost to someone who's unbelievable, who's like eight or 9 levels ahead of you, your game got better just by playing against them. So you want that, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're thinking you're not ready or you think you're like beyond ready and you don't need it. It's designed to help you get the feedback you need. So whether you're just starting out, right? Great. Do it here. Do it in a container where there's going to be accountability, where you're going to learn to show up for your craft. People come into this program, they go, I started to get more things done than I've ever done. And you know what happens when you start and give yourself permission to make mediocre, messy things? The brilliant stuff slips through. It just winds up slipping through. But what usually happens is we go off and we say, I'm going to go get ready, but we actually don't write any music, or we write one song and we have no one to send it to, and we have no sounding board, and we have no feedback, and then we give up. Because again, we're picturing in our head, there's nobody there. Why would I do this? It's exhausting. It took me everything just to sit down and write the song. Then I wrote one song. I didn't send it to anyone. I have no idea how to get through to anyone. Right. So the program is like these 2 pieces. There are some times where you can learn guitar, or you can learn voice, or you can learn gymnastics, right, from someone who's a pro at it. But very rarely is the person who's teaching you guitar also the person who has connections for you. So that's why it's not a course. It's like this access, accountability. It's this mentorship. It's this it's this program. It's really not just a course, because we're kind of taking it the next step, because we realized, why shouldn't I just use all the tools I had, all the arrows in my quiver to help you? And one of the arrows in my quiver was, I happen to know some people, and they're cool and they're kind and they're willing to come in, and they actually like doing it. They're like, yeah, they had a good time. I was like, cool, let's do it again. So they come in and they talk to you, right? And so then now you get to connect with them. Another question people are asking me is like, well, does Catch the Moon, the agency, do you guys take a piece of that if I get a, no, that's not the business I'm in, right? While I have this program that I put together, then I'm really busy doing this thing, which is a podcast, okay? I'm not in the business of like, great, how else can I make money from the people who are in the program? We sometimes get briefs and we'll be like, do you want us to pitch you for that? Or do you want to pitch yourself? Or do you want to meet another licensing agent? Because we've made arrangements with other licensing agents, and they can pitch you and we can introduce you to them, right? And we're hoping that what we're going to teach you is what to do, what I did, which is to fish for yourself, to meet music supervisors, to pitch, to reach out, to make your own connections, to make your own inroads with them. And then hopefully you don't need to just stand in line waiting for your licensing agent, whoever it is, to pitch you. But if you want to have a licensing agent, plus you want to pitch for yourself, then this program allows you to go ahead and just do that, and do that in a way where it's well received, versus going out into the world at large and saying, I got to start like Cathy did, just like cold emailing people. And what if that's going to feel really overwhelming? It's like, well, if you meet the person in the program, you'll be surprised how many times they say, hey, here, guys, on the call, they'll be like, here's my email, and feel free, just remind me that you were in this session. And people have a great time reaching out. They feel that they get really nice responses. And then other people in the class reach out and they say, oh, I got through to Lindsay. She's really actually nice. Go ahead, email her, or I'll email her on your behalf. And everyone's sort of working towards the same cause. And we create this really sacred kind of, group inside there. So it's really, really cool. I'm just going to go through the questions. So I just answered a couple. What if I'm just starting? What if I feel like I'm well beyond it? You see how those two things could be really helpful either way. It says, what's the weekly time commitment? So there's no you're not going to get a penalty if you don't show up, but there's a lot here for you. And it's kind of like, take what you want and leave the rest. Okay. So every single week, okay, there's going to be live instruction. John Kleinbell, who's the director of music, he's going to come on every single week and he's going to talk about songwriting, production, because he's in the studio every single day making music, mixing tracks, doing this himself, right? Like he's all day. Then I'm going to come on, okay? And I'm going to do Zoom video sessions with you, and we're going to do like all the pieces that I feel are my zone of genius. I'm going to really work with you on breaking through some of this stuff, talking big picture, and then probably talking a lot about pitching, because that's one of my gifts, and I'll be continuing to teach you how to pitch, and I'll put people in hot seats and I'll listen to you on Zoom video calls, okay? And then you're going to have every other week, you're going to have a music supervisor come on, and the music supervisor is going to be on a Zoom video session. All these things are on Zoom video sessions, by the way. So what I'm doing right now is I'm talking on a Facebook Live. So even though I see your comments, it's a little bit more of like one way. But when we're on Zoom video together, which is how everything is done, A, we record it. So if you can't make it, you can watch the replay. And B, I can see your face and you can see mine, and I can listen to you. I can hear you and you can hear me. So it's a very different kind of experience. In addition to the music supervisor interviews, there's then listening sessions. So then we're going to say, here's a listening session where we're going to listen to music and give people feedback. So that's a consistent thing where we'll be saying, send in your music. In addition to that, we're going to put you in pods, and your pod's going to have a weekly meetup, just your pod. Then you're going to have an accountability coach assigned to you, and they're going to reach out to you. And then once every couple weeks or 3 weeks or so, your accountability coach is going to get on Zoom. So there's lots of different times. But do you have to show up for every single call? No. I want you to understand something. I created this program for busy people. I host a podcast that has almost 15 million downloads. Do you have any idea how much of a beast that thing has become? It's humongous. Okay, there's so much going on. I have 3 kids under the age of 8. All right, I'm really, really busy. And on top of it, I care a lot about the music program. We have a huge team. I am leading my team. I am dealing with the students. We are creating events. That event, I don't know if anybody heard about it or saw it. It was pretty awesome. There's a lot that goes into planning those events. There's a lot that goes into bringing in the right people and making sure that every touch just really works so that people have a great experience. We put a lot of time into it. So believe me, I'm busy. I'm busy working on music. I'm busy working on my team. I'm busy running a podcast. I'm busy doing speaking gigs. I'm busy being a mom. I created the program for people who are busy. So if you're busy and you're like, forget it, I want to tell you something. Most people spend too much time doing the wrong things and very little time doing the right things. If you were able to spend 1 to 2 hours a week doing what actually matters to move your business forward, you're going to get so much further being in this. Because even if you wind up only being able to put in an hour or two a week, if you did that for 6 months and you're focusing on making 3 out of all the people, you make 3 good relationships, okay, with people who you would never even know how to find or have access to. And if you wind up having 2 songs by the end that get feedback and they work, you now have 3 people and you know how to contact them, and you've got 2 songs. You can begin something that can last and sustain itself. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's not going to take 20 or 30 hours a week. It's impossible, and it's not necessary. You're going to burn out. When I went through that structure of like research, co-write, brain dump, research, brain dump, co-write, go to the studio, all that stuff, that should be 45 minutes every time. Because if you want to have all those creative juices flowing, you can't exhaust and drain yourself, but you should focus on doing what really matters. And if you have this kind of cohort and this kind of elevated upper limit, oh my God, I have had times when I have no free time. I am so busy sometimes in a day, but I got 15 minutes and I know which thing to do, and I'm feeling bold. And if I'm feeling bold, because my mindset is not in the gutter, but it's up here in an elevated place, and I've got 15 minutes and I know who to send an email to or what creative thing to work on for 15 minutes, I get more out of those 15 minutes than I would if I had 6 weeks sabbatical and I was depressed and didn't know where to put my energy. Who knows what I'm talking about? So this is so important. It's so important. And I'm telling you, I swear to you, every single year, I think I'm going to completely close the program because the podcast blew up and it makes 7 figures for me to just talk into this thing. Okay. You can go find out how you get paid on a podcast. But we have 103 advertisers and you get paid a CPM. It's cost per million. So for every 1,000 downloads, you get paid between $25 and $50 for an ad. It's absolutely insane. So there've been many times where I said to Angela, you can ask her, I'm not going to do this anymore. And what winds up happening is I can't stop it because it's effective. And my students will be like, please, no, right? So then I just keep doing it, right? But if I stopped, we wouldn't be able to get the same music supervisors to just do the program, and I wouldn't be able to lead the team, and we wouldn't have the same incubator, right? And I just keep showing up. So the truth is, the fact that it even exists is kind of it's just a novelty, because there was nothing like this when I was starting, and there's still nothing else like this. There's no other person who's this genuine, who's going to give you this kind of emotional, mental uplift, and then also introduce you specifically to these people for this specific niche. Look, I couldn't, if you were looking to be a the woman who owns Sprinkles Cupcakes, Candace Nelson, do I know everybody in the baking business? No, right? I just so happen that this specific niche, right? This is like something that I know really, really well. And so I can do this kind of a program with that. If you want to be Jimmy Choo, no, I don't know the buyers from Neiman Marcus. I don't know Bergdorf. I wouldn't be able to help you become the next fashion designer within this way. I could help you and coach you. That I could do. But in terms of like, I just happen to know this. So I've said to myself, I can't really stop because it's helping so many people and you can see these beautiful souls and testimonials. So I'm like, I'm going to just keep going for a little while. But the truth is, I thought this last cohort was the last one. And there will probably be a time where it has to end because I'm being called into a different purpose. It's so obvious to me. But for now, we're doing it. But I will tell you that every time we're doing it. We're raising the price because if I'm going to take time away from my kids and from the podcast and from the amount of amazing opportunities I'm getting, it's got to feel like there's an even exchange of value. And it's right now it's undervalued. The program I do a 3-day retreat at my home for 18 people who listen to my podcast. And it's $3,500 for 3 days. I do a 12-week program for listeners of my show right now, 12 weeks, and it's the same price as what you're paying for 6 months. It's off. And it's just what it is. It's just worth way more. And even music supervisors go, you should charge a lot more because that's insane, right? And by the way, when music supervisors come into the program, I don't say to them, donate your time. I pay them to come in because I want them to feel like I respect them. And a lot of them would probably do it anyway. And in the beginning they did, but at this point, I don't think that that's right. And so there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot, and there's a lot of people on the team, right? So believe me, the next time we do it, if we do it in August, and again, I don't know for certain, but if we do, the price is going to go up. And I don't know that it's always going to be 6 months, and it's definitely not going to be 6 months at this price. So that's just a fact. Somebody else asked, can me and my bandmates use the same profile? No. That would be like saying, can I pay for Berklee School of Music, but bring 3 of my bandmates and they'll sit right behind me? How many of you seen in Step Brothers when Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly go in for the interview and they're sitting right behind each other? Who's with me? It's the funniest thing. And Will Ferrell's like, her name is Pam. And he's like, hi. And then John C. Reilly pops out from behind her. He goes, hello, Miss Lady. And he's like, what are you guys doing? Like, we're interviewing together for the same job. It's like the funniest scene. And then he goes, Pam, hi, Pam, as in P-A-M-N. And she goes, no, P-A-M. And he goes, P-A-M-N? The N is silent. She goes, there's no N. It's just Pam. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. Please go watch it. You have a 3-day weekend. Some of you watch it. No. How could 3 people... That's ridiculous. People are, but we're co-writers. It's like, great. No. Why would you take piano lessons and be like, well, my best friend's in my band, he gets free piano too, right? He'll sit right next to me. You'll give him an instruction too. No. What if I only make instrumentals? Well, I did a lot of interviews before I even started this online cohort. And Alex Stern works in Chicago. He used to be at Leo Burnett. Now he's at DDB. He's one of the biggest music supervisors in Chicago for ads. We actually did the Highfields McDonald's placement with them. And he was saying 70% of the music he uses is instrumental. Now, I want to put that in perspective for you. Almost 95% of the requests I've ever seen are not instrumental, but that's because people don't come to me asking me for instrumental music because they know that I don't make instrumental music. But is there a whole world for people who just make instrumental music? Yes. A whole world. There are people who are just sound designers who you could use the program to work on sound design for trailers and then reach out to people like Brian Vickers, who's the head of trailers at The Hive, which is Disney's trailer company in-house. Disney has an in-house trailer team called The Hive. They did all the Star Wars trailers, every trailer you've ever seen for Moana and blah, 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 blah. And Brian's been with us at least 3 or 4 times now. He was just at our event. So he a lot of times needs songs, but sometimes he just needs instrumental cues. Yes, there is this. You would do it the same way. People will say, well, what if I do hip hop? What if I do? Same thing. Whatever it is that you do, you'd want to take your music and find the music supervisors that specialize in needing that. And you want to do the exact same thing and give them that which they need. Do you understand? There's certain people like Stranger Things, right? All the music sounds very 80s, right? So there's certain people whose music fits that. Now, you could also branch out. You could say, I'm going to use this program as an opportunity to not only do instrumental music, but maybe I do instrumental and I get someone to top line with a melody. Or why not? Why not diversify? Why not be willing to stretch ourselves and not just do hip hop and not just, I know people who started out only songwriting and now they also do trailer composing. It's a thing, right? Like there are times where you can do many more things than just one thing. Look, have you seen how Taylor Swift has changed her music since she started? Have you seen how Lady Gaga has changed her music? She went on tour with Tony Bennett. Why limit ourselves? If you know how to create melody and you like music and you want to get paid to do music, maybe you should just see if there's any other kinds of music you can create, especially when you have a cohort of people you can collaborate with. And sometimes you'd be surprised. One of my closest friends, Kyler England, she's her own artist. She's in a band band called The Rescues. She does a project with Lisa Loeb. They won a Grammy for children's music. And 5 summers ago, she wrote a track, and Tiesto and her worked on it together, and it was a #1 single in the dance world. That wound up paying a gajillion dollars, and she was everywhere. Tiesto is no small change. It was a big deal. I'm so happy she did that collaboration. It was so cool. And she's from North Carolina, and she's got like a tiny little Southern sound in her voice. You would never think, oh, she's going to work with Tiesto. Heck yeah, she did. You should go check out the track. Baby, won't you take me? Baby, won't you take me with you? Check it out. It's so good. Okay, so that answers the next question. Someone said, what if I only write lyrics? Will there be people to collaborate with? Yes. I can play any song I hear, but I have no formal training. When I first started, all I could do was write lyrics, and I could like sing melodies into my voice recorder. And then I slowly started to figure out how to pick things out on the piano. But my mom's a piano teacher, and I grew up playing classical music, and I didn't learn chords. I just learned how to read. And so I felt very frustrated because I wasn't able to, in the beginning, I would walk into sessions and I would feel so embarrassed because people were running circles around me as musicians, not only songwriters. And I was like, and it works, it works. It's about having the courage. The good news is that the universe doesn't care about ready. The universe responds to brave. So when you walk in and you're brave and you open your mouth, you'll be amazed, especially when you're not by yourself. When you're in a room with other people, there's a synergy that happens, and ideas start to come out of you, and you start to improvise, and you do have good melodies, and you do have good ideas, and you won't believe what happens. Things start to come out. Someone said, can I buy this program as a gift for someone? Sure. How are the sessions held? Are they we just went over that. They're held over Zoom video. Are the sessions on the same day and time? No, they're different. Sometimes they're on Wednesdays, sometimes they're on Thursdays, and your accountability coach will be getting with the pods and letting you know when they're going to be meeting with you guys. They're staggered throughout the week. All right, I just went through. Oh, last question. How do I collaborate with people if the program is all online? Well, I've written so many songs. In fact, Kyler and I have written so many songs on Zoom video together where we both sit. She's sitting in her couch and I'm sitting in my house. So that's one thing. You also, you don't even need to be in the same studio to record with somebody. All the producers in our cohort can tell you that if you lived in Sweden and they lived in LA, but you wanted them to produce a track or mix a track, there's so many easy ways for them to show you how to set up a simple rig with a click track, and you can sing vocals and send it to them and they can fly it into the track. So it's amazing what's possible right now. There's no good excuse why we can't be taking our seat at the table, taking a stake, putting it in the ground and saying, no, this is the year. I'm done with the excuses. I'm done with the small thinking. I'm done with it. And I'm doing this. And this program gets rid of all the excuses. There's no excuse if you can. And if it's just a matter, see, here's the thing. There are certain people where I know coming up with an extra $17 a month is like not doable for some people. It's really, really tough. I know what that was like. Okay. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. My mom and I lived in this little apartment in South Florida. When you're living in an apartment in South Florida, you're hurting because my grandma helped her eventually buy a house for $147,000. But that was the total. So she just had to put down the 20%. And that was when we were finally better. So when a house is $147,000 in Florida, you know that if you're living in an apartment, it's rough. We didn't have anything. My husband also grew up like that. We were just talking to my daughter about that today because my daughter is growing up in a different kind of a world where that's good. There's actually not this kind of ceiling. There's this kind of ceiling, but we want her to be aware of to appreciate what is out there. So I understand there are times, but I also understand that when we are resourceful, we'll find a way. And everything is, when it comes to money is just value that's exchanged for value. So I would think to myself, is there anything I can do right now in my world where I can give value to equal $259 a month? Can I be tutoring? Can I be babysitting just to pay for this? Is there any value I could extract to give to anyone so that I could get back value and pay for this class? And if you were honest with yourself, you'd be like, God, there's a lot of things that I could do just 3 times a month and make a couple $100, whether it's tutoring, babysitting, if it's driving an Uber 3 nights a week, you'd actually make a lot more than $259 a month. You know what I mean? Like there are so many ways to do things like this. There's so many ways. I could organize somebody's closet. I could quickly, I don't know, I'm really good at Spanish. I could teach a couple people Spanish. I could use Cathy's 5-day challenge, and I could do a 5-day challenge showing people a couple tricks to study for the SAT. And then I could just get 3 students. Like, can you teach guitar lessons? Is there anything that you could do to exchange value so that you have this value and that you can then not have any more excuses, right? When we want to do something, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And also be honest with yourself. There's another group of people who are not hurting as much as I was when I was in high school, as much as I was when I was in college, and I was scraping by. I had 3 jobs when I was in college. I worked for this girl, Karen, who had cerebral palsy. I was her like assistant. I like helped her get around campus. I worked at the Alumni Association making calls. That was hard. And then I worked at the newspaper, at the college newspaper. Oh, I was also a hostess at Roadhouse Grill. Has anyone ever had the bread rolls at Roadhouse Grill? They're so good. Oh my God. They're sweet and yummy. And I had 4 jobs when I was in college just to pay for school, a public school, right? So I did it. So I made it happen. So what? You know, one of the beautiful things about having my mom in and out of a mental institution when I was a kid and my dad left is that I wasn't expecting it to be easy, and I got really good at being resourceful. And that is the greatest resource, is get resourceful, figure it out. And there's people who, you're saying you don't have the money, but for some people, it's not that. For some people, the real thing is it's not a priority. Or for some people is, I don't really believe it. And therefore my ceiling is here and I can't get out of it. And I'm going to spend the next 10 months of 2020 with the ceiling, which means I'll be there in 2021, which means look 5 years in the future. Picture yourself at 2025, 5 years from now. And it's the same thing. You're not in your zone of genius. You're frustrated. You're still making the same money. You're still in your zone of excellence or your zone of competence. And how does that affect you? How does that affect your health? How does that affect your relationships? How does that feel? And here's the thing, because now that I live the life I live, where every day I'm like, I don't even know what's next. I'm just going for it. I'm looking to push myself every day because now I'm addicted to getting out of my upper limit. Wherever it is, I'm like, let's go. If it's like, show up for this person, if it's have that conversation with my dad, which I had to do 3 months ago, it's like, get out of your upper limit, Kath. Go do that, which is really scary. Whatever it is for me that shows up, I'm like, crush it. Like, I want the next level. I'm obsessed with it now. Obsessed. So for me, it's like, I look at that and I think of you 2025, you're in the same place. And I think, who will you have not gotten to meet? What experiences will you have missed out on because you stayed in that place? It's just so awful. Or I think, what's the opposite, right? Let's say you push out of that. You start to change this. You start to reach for a higher branch. You start to do things. You start to do things that are messy. You're scared, but you do it anyway. Things start to happen. There's some momentum. You get a little bit of traction. Oh my God, you just broke through. Oh my God, you just had a song on this hot new show. Oh my God, now you're the one helping other people. Oh my gosh, now you're quitting your job because like Tamara Mellon, she started Jimmy Choo. She was on my podcast. Tamara Bubble, you got all these placements. Now you're able to take this next level. I just talked to her the other day. She's like, I'm quitting my job really soon. I can see it because I've been able to do all of this awesome stuff. And the money it's so consistent now. And she's super responsible, by the way. She is she's an accountant. That's what she does for a living. And so she was like, in order for me to be able to quit, I can't just make one, because she got a Hulu placement for $27,000. Then she got 6 more. Then she was like, no, I need to know that I can make this. And once she got a certain amount all the time, she's like, I'm quitting. So she just told me, she's like, in the next few months, I'm quitting and be all in. So that's really exciting. And that's, by the way, what I teach people is build the bridge before you just leap. But I think to myself, imagine if you did those things, where would you be in 2025? And then maybe it doesn't stop there. Maybe like me, you think that that's that next ceiling, but then you do that for a few years and this other thing breaks open and it leads you to, I don't know, it led me to this. I don't know where it's leading me next, but I just keep showing up and saying, I'm available. I might not be the smartest. I might not be the most ready, but I'm available. I'm available for that next level, no matter what it's going to take. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So, What other questions? If I see more questions, we can always come back and answer more questions. I will tell you that this program is going to sell out. It does every time, and we are halfway full. And I wanted to come on and talk about all of these important pieces because I think it is just so essential. And I'm just going to look and see if anybody has any other questions. Let's see. And Delana, I have my phone. So if you have other questions that I'm just not seeing that come up over and over and over again, you could text them to me because I'm going to look through the chat now. Oh, and a question that she sent me, and I'll keep waiting on here for a little while longer if you have more questions. She asked me, what if you live in other countries? Oh my God. Like, first of all, welcome. We every single time we do a Sync Keepers event, I tell people to stand up. True or false if you've been there. I say stand up if you took a plane to get here, and 90% of the room stands up. And we're talking about Holland, Vancouver, Chile, Argentina, UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. Who's remembering this? It's amazing. And I'm so happy to hear it because remember we talked about ad agencies and how they're everywhere? Oh my God, Google, all of those different ad agencies, Ogilvy, McCann, Deutsch, New Zealand, Ogilvy, Deutsch, McCann, Chile, Argentina, God, and you'd be even so much better off just focusing on that because you think that most people are focusing on those countries every day. They're definitely using music. They're definitely creating ads and TV shows and all day long. Yes, they are. Mark said, who are the accountability people? The mentors, as we call them. The accountability people are people who are living this, who have success, who are doing this, who are also, not all of them, but a lot of them were students in my program who are people that I trust, who wound up getting success and who wound up being those people that really stood out. John Kleinbell is somebody who he's now director of music, but the mentors are like that. Chris Bradley was not one of my students, but she's such a awesome boss babe. She's an amazing producer and songwriter. The people who are mentoring you are not just admin people. They're people who like all day are, doing this and having success doing this. And so they have the ability to give you feedback. When John and Sam and Chris and Nick, when the people who are mentors are not mentoring you, they're like, I got a session, I'm working on something for Nike, or I'm composing something for The Biggest Loser, or I'm working on so-and-so's track for do you understand? So those are the mentors. The website link is the number 6, sixfiguresongwriting.com. The deadline and payment options. So we will close enrollment for sure on Friday, but if we sell out of the seats before then, we're just going to close it because we're halfway there. And I only really opened enrollment on Thursday. Today's Saturday. So it's been 2 days and we're halfway there. I'll close it because it needs to be filled with integrity, and there's 12,000 plus people in this challenge, and we don't take anywhere close to that. We won't even take 1,000. We don't take 500 people. We just don't. We have a small group, and we know based on the amount of mentors and based on the amount of work what makes sense. And we could I guess it's possible. We could be like any, school and have thousands of kids every year. I mean, UCLA and Harvard, they're not slouching and they've got 20,000 kids on campus. You could do it. We're just not set up right now to do that. So once it's full, it's full. And the payment options are, it's such a ridiculous price. If you were just going to get the coaching, when I do a private session with someone, it's $2,500 for 90 minutes. And I don't even do them anymore. I did them leading up to my book as like a bonus. If people bought like 1,000 books, I was like doing some, I think I did like 20 of those sessions just to sort of, because some people wanted to buy, a bunch of books, not 1,000 books. If people bought $1,000 worth of books, I was giving people sessions just as like a promotion. I did a few of those. But I don't really even do that anymore. So to hire a coach, my friends who are not even as big in terms of their platform, when they're doing private coaching, you can look into it. It's usually at a minimum when they're not good, like an entry level coach is going to be $1,500 a month, and you're going to get like 3 sessions, like 3 calls. A good coach, like my friends who do it, they're doing it like $10,000 a month, and it's usually a retainer of 6 months. And they only take like 3 clients, and it's only like 3 sessions a month. That's like for a really good coach. And they're not even specific with your business. This is $259 a month. And it actually hurts to say it because it doesn't feel like the right price. It feels like it's weird, and we're going to change it. This program used to be, when I very first started it, it was like $99 a month. Then it was like $185 a month. And now it's $259, and it still feels like nothing. So that's what it costs right now. It's $259 for 12 months. That's the payment plan. Or you can just pay it $29.97, but it's 6 months of all these pieces. If think about the potential, like this is just one placement. This is $10,000. Okay. This was one placement for a TV show. A TV show. This is not even an ad. It's ridiculous. And this is just one thing, one non-exclusive song, right? This is a check for $22,000 for an extension of an ad that I had already done, right? That's so ridiculous. It's unbelievable. This is a list of just some of the students and some of the placements that people have gotten, right? And this is not even everyone. This doesn't even include my sweet, sweet Highfields. And this is old. John actually sent me the updated one, but I printed out this one. Right? And I showed you this. This is a $75,000 check. This is a $75,000 check for one ad, one song, non-exclusive. It's ridiculous. Like if it was $259 a month for 12-month payments, right? Which, by the way, we didn't have to do that. We could have said, no, you could do a 6-month payment plan, which would have been double that, right? Or pay it up front. And I was like, yeah, but let's just make it easier because that's okay. That's all right with me. I only do things if they feel right. So it's like if you were only for 6 months getting the coaching from me, if you were only for 6 months getting the coaching from me and the instruction from John, if you were only for 6 months getting the coaching from me, the instruction from John, the listening sessions, and the mentorship, but if you're getting all that and you're getting the music supervisors alone, if you were just meeting one of those people a month over Zoom video session, that's amazing because you could then talk to them directly without even paying an agent, no commission. It's ridiculous, right? And then we do something else. We go ahead and say, go back and watch the other videos that we've already done with other supervisors in this cohort and reach out to those music supervisors. And then I come in and teach you details of like, if you're going to reach out to this ad agency in Chicago, talk to this person, tell them I sent you. It's like, and you go, well, you're not going to take commission? No, that's not what I'm in this for. That's not the part I'm in this for. I'd rather you go and you pitch your own songs. So it's dumb. I'm telling you, it's really dumb, and it's going to change next August, next August. Also, midnight tonight, there's also bonuses expiring, and they're amazing. To have a closed door session, to be able to ask questions to a lawyer. See, you can't ask me legal questions because I legally can't give you advice. It's not, I don't, that's dumb. That's ridiculous. Like I can't do that, right? But you can ask a lawyer a question. And if a lawyer answers you, you could go, awesome. I'm going to just put that in my split sheet. I don't have to go now pay somebody for 3 hours of their time to help me create this one template. I could just rinse and repeat, use it with every producer. That's worth thousands of dollars. That's so important. And he's not just like an attorney who like is wet behind the ears. He's been doing this for 25 years. He teaches the music licensing class at UCLA. How do I know him? He had me come in and speak to his class three semesters in a row. And so I just texted him the other day. I'm like, would you come and do a bonus session? He's like, sure, of course. And him and his wife are really sweet. And they come over, and I try to have vegan food whenever they're here because she's a vegan. So that bonus expires tonight. Another bonus is the virtual ticket. You get a virtual ticket to Sing Keepers if you enroll by midnight tonight and midnight Pacific Standard Time. That's huge. And for some of you, you're going to be like, oh, but it's a virtual ticket. No, ask anyone who was at our live event. We go to the virtual room. We play songs in the theater for the music supervisors from the virtual room. We do one from the live audience, one from the virtual audience every time. Jason Kramer, the KCRW DJ who discovered Billie Eilish, and Ray LaMontagne, who's going to be doing a bonus session with those of you who got in early. He was at the last event. He'll probably come to the next live event. So those of you who didn't get his special session, you could see him at the event. But he was the one who was a guy in the virtual room who he said, can you connect with me after? And I introduced the two of them and let them go and be married. Awesome. I'm so happy for them. He was in the virtual room, Andrew Ginther, and the whole audience was like, that's awesome. We were all clapping for him. And he was like sitting behind his computer going, what just happened? And he was thousands of miles away. And Jason Kramer heard his song and then they connected. I connected them. And Jason, by the way, is not just a DJ. He's a music supervisor. You can Google it. He's also a licensing agent. And he just does a lot of things because he also is a photographer for fun because he loves doing it. So you get a virtual ticket. So that expires at midnight. And we're also doing a raffle for anybody who's enrolled by midnight. We'll pick 12 of you to go into John's studio. And you can be there live, and we'll do it around the event. And you guys, the 12 of you, will have like a in-studio writing session, and you'll have that time, which is just fun. So lots of value in this. And it feels good. I want you to do this in your life. I want you to be in a position when you're reaching out to a supervisor, when you're showing up in a collaboration, where you feel like you are adding so much, right? So much more than what you're asking for. And that's why I showed you all those emails about how I like to make deposits and take the slower road and build relationships with people. And I'd rather talk about spicy tuna rolls than ask people if they can listen to my music, because it's worth it to me. It's worth the investment in making a new friend. And there's some people who won't respond, and that's okay. And there's some people who will respond. There's some people who will only respond after I am politely persistent and reach out consistently for 2.5 years, every 6 weeks, until finally they go, all right, she's never really been rude, and I'll write her back. And then we start to make a relationship. And there's some people who will never write me back. That's okay. But I'd rather do the slow and steady thing. And I'd rather add value and be a good person and do that with my collaborations. That's why I teach you, if you're going to go to a co-write, do the brain dump, do the research, that when you're that person with that great co-writer that you love, you're not just working with them. See, I used to always want to write with people who were ahead of me. And I would think to myself, well, what do I have to bring to the table? I know this person's already really talented. They've already cut this EP that I love. They already did this one placement. So I would think to myself, well, I'll be the person who, when they get to the session, they think, wow, she made that really easy. She was really generous. Like, she showed up with a lot of enthusiasm and she had a lot of ideas. So we could just like do something. And so it was like plug and play. I would come in having done a brain dump, having had a reference track, having really thought about where I wanted to go with this. And then anyone who, yeah, they might have been more talented even, right? In the beginning, absolutely. But they thought, well, she's really enthusiastic. She's got a direction. And I just have to kind of show up and like work with this, which that was like helpful. Plus I would be like, you know what I'm going to do, since you're so talented and I'm so grateful you wrote with me, I'm going to pitch this thing. And they're like, you're going to pitch? I just gave it to my licensing agent. I'm like, no, I'm going to pitch it myself. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to do the third door. And boy, did we get so much success from that. And my co-writers wound up thinking, all right, Cathy Hiller's not such a slouch. And then you know what wound up happening? I got better and better at being a better writer. But they sat there through those first few sessions where I don't think I was nearly as good as they were. But I think that they saw my willingness, my courage. And then I did wind up getting better at that thing. Because yeah, you get better at it. You understand? All right. Any more questions? So, any more questions? I don't know. I'm looking to see if there's any more questions. Maybe I'll check my phone. Maybe my team's saying here. And by the way, if you didn't send me a question, you're not in trouble. I'm just looking to see if I'm missing something. Let me look. So, no, I'm seeing that all these questions are kind of getting fielded. So that's great. Mickey said, how many times does Cathy usually show up? I am there several hours a month because I show up every other week and I'm on Zoom for a minimum of 90 minutes hot seats, 90 minutes coaching. Usually it goes longer. Sometimes it's 2 hours. I hope that I'll only be doing an hour and a half, because I never, how many people who've been on my calls want to testify to the fact that sometimes they're 3 hours? But it's every other week. Sorry. Every other week I'm there for I say it's supposed to be an hour. It's never been an hour. It's usually between 90 minutes and 2 hours because it just goes and it's fun and I like it. And then in between, oh, you got lots to do. And in between, I'm doing lots of stuff because I'm talking to the music supervisor connections going, can you come into the class? Can you come into the class? Can you come into the class? And then John Kleinbell's like, can I interview them? That's really fun. And I'm like, yeah, talk to them. They're awesome. And then they come in. And then here's the thing. You want Sam Knock and Chris Bradley and John Kleinbell giving you the mentorship in between my sessions, because there was a decade where all I did was eat, breathe, and sleep making music. But now I eat, breathe, and sleep this thing, which is cool, right? And it's really cool because I'm like on like a freaking TED Talk every 2 days. It's amazing. Every New York Times bestselling author, like name it, they've either been on my show or they will be on my show. Deepak Chopra. It's amazing. So I come in like fueled. I'm like ready to lift you up. It's so fun. And I've just learned a ton about how to be successful creating like a multi-7-figure business in so many different ways, doing purposeful things. But you want I was never a producer, right? I was a songwriter, right? So I know how to songwrite, I know how to pitch. But now there's other people alongside me who what they're doing all day long now, right? They're spending all the time pitching and producing tracks and listening to tracks and making music. And I think you want them to give you feedback on the music, you know? I think my thing, even when I was like doing this focus only on this, and I didn't have a podcast or anything else, I was a songwriter who really could teach you how to pitch, and I could really teach you the bigger picture business pieces. But I'm a songwriter. It's really important to hear back from the people who are producers and songwriters who go, let's break that apart. What do you hear in there? That's a synth, so you need that. But what's that percussion doing in the beginning? Do that. Like, I just know how to kind of feel it. You know what I'm saying? But there are people who like, they're the ones choosing the flavors and raising the volume knobs, and like, you want to get their feedback. But in general, whenever music comes in that everyone's like bumping and like loves it, there'll be a point where like I get to hear stuff. And at the live events, I'm on stage usually the entire time and giving my feedback on stuff that I like. But I'm really proud of my mentors and the coaches and John, because I'm really impressed with the way that we're leading people through the writing process. And then I think what I really help people do is the big picture, like showing up and doing the work. And I'm really the best person on the whole team at pitching music. And so I really know how to help you leverage all of those contacts and pitch them and create a whole plan for that. So you can really break that down. Like, you guys learned a lot, I hope, in 5 days, and it was free. Can you imagine the stuff I have to teach you and how to go deeper with every one of those things? Like, I can show you subject lines that actually get open. We can go granular, like literally, what do you write in an email? And how do you find the email addresses for people in this city who work on this thing? Like, there's a lot more there. Every single thing that we talked about this week, I probably could do 10 hours on. Right. And so we'll get to go into deeper. So if you like the way I teach, you'll get a lot more of that stuff. And then you'll also get from the mentors as well. Yeah, they love you. By the way, look how amazing my team is. It's a Saturday night and they are here. I didn't even ask you, you amazing humans. I didn't even ask you to be here. They're all here. Delana, by the way, is in Florida and it is 10:09. And she's pregnant and she has a 2.5-year-old, because that's my team. Oh yeah. I mean, John is pitching all the time. I'm just saying in terms of what I teach, but you could all be teaching that stuff as well. How has the program changed since the Access course? You know what? It just keeps getting better, like a fine wine, because just like your music gets better, we continue to ask the audience, whoever your audience is, what do they need? And what we found over the years is that people needed accountability and people needed more, they needed more coaching. And so we brought in more people, and their job was to coach and to say, this group, you're with me. I'm on top of that. I'm watching. I'm giving you accountability. I'm giving you mentorship, feedback, coaching. So we kind of doubled down on that. which is why the program costs more than it cost when it was called the Access course. And it's just been refined. The curriculum's been refined. We've figured out what the key components are. We cut out some of the fat. And we used to bring in all kinds of different people to the program, and we realized what we really need to bring in is music supervisors, right? Just really focus. It's just gotten better. We also shortened it. It was 12 months, and we found that we wanted to have people sort of elevate to another thing after 6 months to get people through a cycle and to give people more of a deadline and more of something that felt like a better container. It's just really changed. It just always does. I feel like I've changed as a person too, and I just have more. We all just keep growing. I hope that we all just keep growing. Do you help me get work in Canada only? If I work in the US, will I need to get a visa? No, you don't. When you're licensing music, you don't need a visa to license a track to Pepsi. They have a whole way of sending you. It's not like a 1099. It's something else that can just make sure you get paid. What else? Yeah, Lori, that's for sure. We found that after 6 months, people were just not doing what they needed to do. It's like you could go to NYU Film School, right? And if you sat there after, let's say it's a 4-year program, but you sat there for 8 years and then you got confused and you thought it was like the dean of NYU Film School's job to get you an Oscar, and you just keep sitting there, and the guy's like, go make the movie. Go shoot something. You know what I mean? Like, what are you sitting and looking at me for? It's your career. Like, I can put you through USC Film or NYU Film, and I can show you everything you need to know about how to be the best, most prepared you can be to be the best director or the best filmmaker. But then you actually have to go and make movies, right? You got to go do that. So it's not my job. It's not my job to make you a career, but it's my job to give you every resource, every tool, and every possible up level that I can. But then you got to go do it. And I got to just give a shout out even to my people like Nick Phelps. He would agree. This last cohort, and some of you are in here, is it true, John? We've never seen fire like this, because it wasn't 12 months. It was 6 months. They spent more than the people who spent 12 months. We raised the price. We raised the program. We elevated it. And they worked so hard. It was like they just got great results. So it's been pretty awesome. I think it's just getting better and better. Would you have access to videos in the past 6 months? Yeah, we basically gonna pull together any awesome music supervisor interview, because we've already done hundreds of them. We're going to pull in the best ones, the ones that are going to help you from the best of the best people. And then you'll have access. And then I will show you when we're on calls how to leverage those, how to reach out to those people and let them know that you're a part of this and you saw that call if you want to break in with them. And we'll try to work on that as much as possible, because you're now part of this. Once you're in, you're part of this. And so you should be able to reach out to those people who are a part of our family, who've been through this program, who are a trusted referral for us, and we'll get you in with those people. What else? Someone was asking me about like a PRO situation, and then someone just asked, so your PRO is your performance royalty organization, performance rights, like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. Okay. So think of this like a lot of people who don't get that. It's like if you're an actor, you have your SAG or AFTRA. So with music, if your song is on a TV show or if it's on an ad, there's going to be a cue sheet that gets dropped in from the person doing all the paperwork for the movie or the ad or whatever it is. And hopefully your name and your song is going to be on there, and they're going to want to know, are you signed up with ASCAP or BMI? You don't have to worry about that. That's not something it's not in terms of, when I say you don't have to worry, you don't have to worry that that's going to be a whole ordeal and really complicated. It's not complicated. You can sign up these songs online in 2 minutes. You can create a publishing company, meaning your own. Like when you self-publish, my publishing company is really complicated. It's called Cathy Heller Music. It's like, that's what it's called. You can call it Happy Tree Dancing. Or call it whatever you want. You can create it tonight. And no, it doesn't cost you money. You can create that. And it's just good to have that. Yes. So that then you will get paid. But don't worry about it in meaning like, I can't even begin the program because I don't have a PRO. That's okay. You can go get a PRO on any Tuesday or Monday or Thursday and go into ASCAP and make yourself, it's not a complicated situation. And you can just keep track of the songs, and makes it really easy to sort of let them know who you wrote it with. I own 50% of the writing, and so does my friend Claire. We wrote it together. Okay, great. And Claire has her own publishing company that she owns, because she owns her own publishing, and so do I. Great, we put that in. Doesn't have to be complicated, but it's important to have that so that when there are cue sheets, you get paid, because those organizations are collecting those performance royalties for you. I have a song, many songs this has happened with. There's been times where, ASCAP sends me a check and I'm like, whoa, I didn't realize there's like $18,000 in royalties for whatever it was. I wrote a theme song for Netflix, and there's a check every quarter. They figure it out. So they're there advocating for you. And I'm just a big ASCAP fan because I started it through them, and that got me everything. And I love ASCAP. So but I think they all have different things that make them great. Yes. So I think that we have kind of summed up a lot. All right. So it's 7:16 Pacific Standard Time, which means there's about a little less than 5 hours till bonuses expire. And I also want you to know another fun fact, which is that I'll be back midweek. See, we're going to archive this group. We close this group. That's right. We close this group because we do two things. We either do things that are free, like come one and all, I hope you felt a hug, and I hope you felt up-leveled, and I hope you got tools. Yay, free, $0, right? Like, think about it. You don't have to say it to make me feel good, but I'm actually curious. Knowing now what we taught in the 5 days, what would you think it was worth, the 5 days? Just the 5 days that were free. How would you put a price on it? Would you think that the information and the coaching, I'm not going to make you pay, don't worry, it was free. I'm just curious. Would you say those 5 days were worth $100? $400? I don't know. I'm just curious. In any case, it was free. And then we do a paid 6-month in-depth mentorship program. Okay. So we close this and we archive it and we say goodbye until the next 5-day challenge. So what we are going to do, since we're going to be pulling down the videos and archiving this group, meaning nobody will be able to post and no one will be able to chat, it'll say this group is closed. So we're going to close it in just a few days. So we're going to give you guys, some people were saying, hang on, I had to work and I only got to watch half of it day 2 and blah, blah, blah. So you have a few more days. I love it. Ryan's like 500. Alicia's like 250 at least. A lot of people are afraid to type it because you're like, what if she then asked me to pay her? No. Thank you. Barry said it's priceless. I'm so glad. So in any case, we're going to close it. So what we are going to do is one more time by Tuesday night, we're going to take down the videos of the 5 days, day 1 through 5. So I am going to give you until then to finish day 5 homework, complete it, and then we'll pick one person to give a full scholarship, whoever did their homework, and one person to give a 50% scholarship. But we're already half full and it's been 2 days. So if you're worried and you're like, oh, I'm enrolling anyway and I want to get these bonuses, enroll and hand to God. If your name is chosen, you'll get a refund. That's all good. That's fine with me. We won't even know. We won't be looking it up. We will, I promise you. I promise, or else I would be a nasty human. So don't let that stop you, but we will do that. And we'll also give away some other bonuses as well. Probably more signed copies of my book, probably some more gift cards that you could either have or apply to the program. So you'll have the days to catch up, and then we'll come back one more time. Okay. But I do want to say to you, no matter what, like, this life is such a gift, and we can't play in our zone of competence. We got to play in our zone of genius, and we got to break through this ceiling. I want this ceiling this year, 2020, to become your floor. And I want you to move up levels and worlds. And I want you to vibrate on a higher level. It's all just fear and it's all conditioning. Thoughts are not facts. Just because you think it does not make it true. And I hope that what I showed you and what I'm showing you, and those of you who've been with me for 6 months, you're going to get a new set of tapes in here. Okay. And you're going to see a higher branch to reach for. And you're going to start to go, oh, I have new thoughts, which show me a new ceiling. And therefore, I'm going to take new action. And I'm going to start to see something new that I'm capable of, right? And again, be honest with yourself and be resourceful, because you have a lot of value to give. And there's a lot of ways for you to give value in exchange for then getting value back, which is money. Is there anything that you can give in your life to make $259 of value back? Is there any value you can give? Anything you can do right now in your world? Right? That might, like, I know a mom who wanted to take the program and she was like, but I can't. I'm home with my 18-month-old every day. And you know what she did? She asked 3 other moms, since she was already home with her 18-month-old, if she could watch their kids. Oh my God. Not only did she wind up making, I think it was like $1,500 a week. By the time this thing goes over, she wound up not only having 3 other kids, but then once a week, she hired this music together teacher to come, and she made like a little bit of a piece from the whole thing. And then she wound up getting certified to be a music together teacher. And she wound up doing that alongside. It's the whole story is crazy, but brilliant. There's no excuse. Be resourceful. She's like, I can't. I have a kid. I have no childcare. She's like, wait, but I'm with my kid. I could watch 3 other kids. And you know what she said to me? Cathy, it changed my life because my kid was happier because she had 3 play dates and I was getting paid and I was with my kid anyway. I had no childcare. And then she wound up getting certified to be a music together teacher, and she wound up really liking it. And then in addition to that, she wound up writing music for Sesame Street and the Jim Henson Company. And it was just like such a fun, you see what I'm saying? Don't let it stop you. Don't stay in here with this limiting belief of like, it's just a fact. I can't afford it. It's just a fact. I'm not ready. It's just a fact. There's no possibility. Let's get rid of that, because that's not going to lead you anywhere good, right? Because how we do one day leads to how we do the next. And so where do you want to be in 2025? Do you want to be the person showing people around you what's possible? I'll tell you this though, sister, brother, your tribe is going to shrink in one way. It's going to change a little. Part of the problem is we got to shed some of the people that not really fit in our future, kind of fit in our past. And so sometimes there's a disloyalty feeling of like, but so-and-so will think I'm not cool, or so-and-so will think I'm trying to be all that. Or remember, those are the people in the first line. Yeah, your friends might change. Mm-hmm. And then you might go, I can't believe I settled for hanging out with those pieces of whatever for so long. You know what I mean? And maybe it actually changes your marriage in a good way, or changes your friendships in a good way. Because I have a couple friends who they went the way of the, of the dodo bird when I started being successful. Because a couple people, I had a 86 from my life. But there was a couple of friends of mine who said, because I saw you stepping up, I stepped up. And I had one friend who changed her health completely, lost a lot of weight, started making new choices. And you'll see, and even with my husband, it affected him. He was really unhappy and he wound up being able to quit his job and starting to pursue, what he wants to do? He wants to do stand-up comedy, and it's terrifying, but he's really good at it. He knows he is. He knows his own genius. He's terrified to go up on stage, but he's doing it. He's doing it. And I'm so proud of him. I'm like, dude, just get that up level. Oh, it's so sweet when something is scary and then you do it. Forget the goal. It's that satisfaction of breaking through your stupid upper limit. Is that the gift that keeps on giving? So, and I think what happens is it made our marriage better. It was like this for a while, but in the end, it's like the more he sees me treating myself on a new level, he treats me on that level, and he treats himself on that level. And it kind of raises the vibe. And I don't want to, by the way, I don't want to pass the cycle on to my kids that it's either be a parent or have a dream. I want my children to know they can do both. I also want to show my kids it's not have money and be a jerk, or be poor and be nice. I want my kids to see have money and be generous, have money and go buy a well in Africa of clean water. Bill Gates is literally single-handedly ridding the world of malaria. Come on. Yes. And he's not the only one. I know lots of people who live near where I live in Beverly Hills who are really genuine and really generous. And I know people who are jerks. And, Yeah, I know some people who have no money who I grew up with who are real jerks. And I know people who have no money. I know this one family. I'll tell you a quick story. I worked in reality TV when I first moved out here. I got a job at a place called Rocket Science Labs, and we did it's the stupidest shows, but I just needed a job. I got it on Craigslist. I needed to pay my rent. And one of the shows was like an extreme home makeover. And we had to go find families. And I found this family that had 10 children and nothing. They lived like in the Hollywood part of town. They had 2 bedrooms, and the kids, 5 kids slept in one room, 5 kids on the other, and the 2 parents slept on the couch. And in the kids' bedroom, there was this cute cardboard. I can't make this up. A cute cardboard thing above the bed where the kids had drawn on it because it covered a hole that went straight through to the outside. Okay. There were crickets, and it was like so sad. The mom, when I came in, she had a pot this big on her stove. And I go, "Oh, you're cooking for your family?" She goes, "No, I'm cooking for the homeless shelter. I cook for them once a week." And they had nothing. And she's making food for them. I'm just saying. I've met people like that. And she was like, "Please sit down." She wanted to give me anything that they had. I was like, no, you don't have to get. And then I realized it's actually nicer to take from her, to receive from her, make her feel like she has something. So I was like, "Thank you so much." And I had a cup of the soup, and they were just the sweetest people. And they were both teachers, but the dad was disabled, and they had a bunch of kids, and the sweetest people with no money. I've met those people. I've also met jerks, really scary people with no money. I mean, it's not mutually exclusive, right? And I've met people who have money who are so good and so kind and so humble. And I met people who have money. I see money as like, it's like it just exaggerates whatever is the innate person anyway, right? It's like if you're a good person, it makes you better. If you're a jerk, it makes you worse. It's just like kind of like that. But I want to show my kids a new story, and I want to show them that they can make such good money with their dreams, not with like, well, you can either make a lot of money doing something you hate or do your dream and you can starve. No. So I just, like recently I bought this new X7 BMW and I love it. It's like olive green. I'm a big fan of that color. And my stepmom said, your dad and I are so proud of you, because like I've gone through years where I don't even speak to them. That's been like a whole story. That's for another time. But and they've never paid for my anything. Like it's a whole, we'll talk about that later. That's when you have 7 hours. But she said, you should be so proud of yourself because you worked so hard. And I forget that I've worked so hard because I like what I'm doing, but it is constant action, but action doing the right things. And when you do the right things and you invest in humans and people and empathy, it always comes back. It always comes back. And when you're brave and you're not ready and you do it anyway, and you start a podcast in your closet, or you start writing music and you book that co-write and you feel stupid, or you send that email and you're not ready, but you do it anyway, and you make a relationship, there's momentum, and you go, "Oh my God, I broke through my upper limit. Maybe I could do that again. The person was actually not mean. They were kind of nice to me. Oh my God, now I got a piece of information. Now I have a little bit of a contact. Maybe I can do it again. Oh my God, this person just told me that they need a ride to the airport. Maybe I could be the one. Maybe I could do that for them, and I could learn something about them while I'm driving." Like it's like life, when you are available and you are ambitious, the opportunity is going to rain all over you. That's what's going to happen. So when you're available and ambitious, opportunity will come. So you just got to be available. Like it's like when there's a taxi, the light's on or it's off. Just leave the light on. You're available. Takes courage. Be available and ambitious, and amazing things happen. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I want to wish you guys an amazing weekend. You've got 4.5 hours till the bonuses expire, but technically we have an enrollment for the next several days until it closes, but we'll let you know when it's closed, if it closes before then, because we will only take a certain number of people. Thank you for being here on a Saturday night. I'm really impressed. I had a great time. You asked me good questions. Any questions we didn't answer, you could drop them in. We will definitely try to get to those. And if you haven't seen all the videos, definitely watch them, because they'll be taken down in a few days on Tuesday. And I'd love for you to be able to just get as much as you can out of this, because I do hope and feel that you will get something if you integrate these things. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.